Sorry about that. And that may not have been the best spot to come into or to start off with, but I was just watching something else, and it actually wasn't about what it sounded like, wasn't about anything. You made me think about it. Actually, it's not even. I mean, it was posted on YouTube, but I found it on a site actually. Okay, so what was my topics? As I've been kind of meaning to do in practice through the day, and the dog's thankfully still sleeping well. I wanted to do a bit more about, and sorry, it did not fit in the thing. Type 2 diabetes, it says. But honestly, I wonder if it would be the same with any type. And I love the title of this because, when you get it young, or when you know someone who's died young from it, you can start to. I think I'm using the other hand there. So, but yeah, and then we'll see if anything happens with the song. I haven't looked at this yet. Maybe I should have first, but but part of me just wants to wing it. In, and it says, no, it's probably not a mistake. When first diagnosed, many people find, and this is by Novo Nordisk, behavior diabetes is too, because we understand. When first diagnosed, many people find it difficult to believe the they think it must be a terrible mistake, believing that perhaps another test is needed, or thinking maybe, and this is all just learning, like I think a lot of it's pre-diabetes, so many sugars and natural and processed, and yeah, community, it's a community connection. Um, sorry, can't believe how good the dog's being, and he knows I've done a couple of videos today, but he's been great. Maybe he just doesn't want to go back there. But it's actually sleeping. He's not even really looking in this direction. Anyway, very natural response to the shock of receiving the diagnosis. However, it's very likely that the diagnosis, I don't know why I keep showing this message in my inbox until I go back to it, and then it's not in that there anymore. Um, However, it is very likely that your diagnosis is real. I can't remember the other message about Joe recently. And diabetes is here to stay. You are now part of the very large and growing club of people with diabetes, a club we understand that you would prefer not to join. But, I mean, yes and no. But, I mean, it's like anything, you can monitor it, and right? Um, Number two, as the viewer goes, this isn't your grandmother's diabetes. This is interesting considering mine had that. With new developments, although, you know what, that's the thing, there's always research and rocks and runs and this and that. And sometimes I wonder, does it really change much? When they say um, when they say oh, well, there's chemo and this and that, but yeah, a lot of chemo can be very rough on people, like not diabetes, but just kind of in general. So I mean, and for years and years, I'm no expert, but it seems as if all we hear about as far as the treatment of cancer is chemo radiation. In fact, apparently they are two different things. But still, I mean, I don't know. I mean, people have to, and it's a progressive thing. I mean, they're really, I don't know if there's a cure. It's what the body naturally does. Of course, you can always do things to help prevent it, like being safe in the sun, and diet, and possibly exercise, which are some of the same things for diabetes, really. Uh, with new developments and knowledge, we know that we can live a long and healthy life with diabetes by keeping your blood glucose levels, the amount of sugar in your blood, in the target range set by doctor. Well, I think it. Sometimes I think it has to be a specialist or just a different doctor. Like, I don't think mine really. Anyway, the diagnosis, but at the same time, the test results are what the test results say. So I mean, yeah, anemia, etc., etc. Okay, maybe it's that then. Okay, like I mean, um, um, trying to get something out of my pocket here and struggling for some reason that I'm not really sure why, other than that my pocket was folded. Um, the diagnosis of diabetes is not a death sentence. Hard to hear when you know someone being 32 and passing of it. I mean, and she was used to dealing with it and monitoring it and stuff. Compl- uh, the diabetes, okay. Complications like blindness, heart disease, kidney problems, and nerve damage can be largely prevented or onset can be delayed with good diabetes care management. Maybe how she was able to donate organs. Eating healthy meals and snacks, enjoying regular physical activity, and following diabetes management program your doctor develops. And again, I'm reading this off for the first time, but can help people with diabetes live a long and healthy life. With good care and attention, you can be one of those people. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself for developing it. And don't let anyone else blame you either. It's not caused by laziness or lack of willpower. Eating sweets didn't do it. It's something I'm still trying to learn. Type 2 diabetes, but maybe eating too many of them, is a genetic disease, yes. And when you have these genes, certain factors, and again, don't most of us, if you look, sometimes not very far, but far enough in, um, when you have these genes, certain factors, like being overweight and having a sedentary lifestyle, can trigger it. But I would also say just it being genetic. Because, like I say, I'm thinking of someone I know who was never overweight, and I knew her for a long time. I mean, I don't think they just mean like morbidly obese. Like she was very slim, um, and she was not uh, living a sedentary lifestyle. However, I appreciate how this says that it's not caused by laziness, because just because you have a sedentary lifestyle does not mean that you're lazy. You can see all the effort, even if they're not, they don't got bells and whistles and music and imagery and such and such and such and such, and maybe one day they will. It's kind of like you still, hopefully can still tell that I put a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of time, etc. into these videos, and it's kind of like, and I mean, with the right opportunities and things. Yeah, I'm not lazy. I mean, everybody has to have downtime, and sometimes you're just going through a slow time in life, and sometimes it can be like for a while. Um, but I also wouldn't say that they're right when they say having a sedentary lifestyle can trigger it. And what they're saying is genetic disease, period. And when you, first of all, that throws credibility out the window with this. It was like something over here. I can't remember what it was, but because I don't. I mean, not to sound like grammar pickers picking at the grammar or whatever, but a sentence shouldn't start with and it's unclear whether they're saying that genetics and considering the source, genetics um, and a sedentary lifestyle. Well, it's a genetic disease. Period. It clearly says it. You don't believe me? Take a look. And actually, it's even showing it the right direction. So maybe I won't read the rest of the page. Anyway, point of the matter is it's right around here. Um, and I can't but think of a friend of mine who she worked a job where she was on her feet a lot, and she did enjoy doing outdoor activities. Maybe she otherwise outside of work was pretty relaxed, but I mean compared to me, who's kind of self-employed but otherwise unemployed, and you know sometimes low on money or don't drive or not super duper active. Although the nicer weather will help. It's kind of like no, I mean her and people like her. I would not say are having a sedentary life. I think they would be saying they're having a balanced life, where they have a tiring job and sometimes maybe family, and then they're relaxing. What's weird about it? So from this point on, I think it's interesting how this book is constructed. Uh, and there's no French version, I guess. I think I'm not going to read the details because, unfortunately, it easily turned me off there. Ignoring diabetes after being diagnosed is a very bad idea. Well, unless, of course, you're ambivalent and you just want your life to do whatever it does. I get it sometimes. At the same time, are you one that can live in discomfort? Hello? Hi? Well, I mean, except for the fact that he might be here till like 6 o'clock then. But right, and then biking back from there, so you might not even be here then. Okay, as long as we were trying to kind of wrap things up by the time you got here, should be okay. Like I say, you haven't, unfortunately, you haven't put anything aside yet. That's the only thing. He knows what he's looking for, and oh, really? Upstairs on the shelf by the piano. Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Alrighty, sounds good. Okay, bye. Okay, so I've got an hour and a half before someone comes. I should be done this very soon. I'm actually flying. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really have anything to say on that title other than that it makes as much sense as the previous one, which is, like, yeah. What did I'm reading this thing and we can talk about it. Um, and it may not be solely to diabetes, but it's 10 things to note. Viewer left. I'm just laughing at the title of this. No, you won't. Then I said something about not getting it much. Like, yeah, I mean, I know it's controversial or whatever, but yeah, it's true because I mean, I saw someone on breastfeeding. I thought, what would you do? Um, underneath the shirt. Kind of alluding to that song the other day. It's kind of like, yeah, I do think so. I guess we'll see. I mean, but I just think this, and I think I saw the one thing that may be already online. Somebody was looking for a friend, but they're the only one of them in the states because they were, and yeah, it doesn't. I don't think the heat's on, but stuff. Anyway, so yeah, this title's just funny. No, you won't be limited to eating nuts, twigs, and bird seeds. You can still eat your favorite foods, just not all at once. Well, who does that? Boring diets are no longer necessary, and there's no need to deprive yourself forever. Attention to size of your meals is critical. And for most people, I would say, even if you're not obese. You also need to learn more about the contents of the food you typically eat, carbohydrates, fat, and calories, which foods you should eat more or less of, and how these foods, yes, sorry, how these foods affect your blood glucose and overall health. Things can impact other things, right? Oh my goodness, he looks at Ian. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just thinking for a moment. 4 to 5 gets there, bikes back 5:30. Okay. Not taking your prescribed medications is a dangerous thing. Now, and the dog's still good, even though I was on the phone. I almost want to get up and see if the heat's on, but that I'm worried might kind of make him rustle. But it can be very noisy upstairs. That or I could take this off. This is what I mean. I mean, I actually lasted quite a while. No, it is on. And it's too warm for it on. I didn't think it was. And then the pen and the thing fell out of my pocket. But Sunny's being sleepy and good. Sleepy and good. Um, um, the uncle, I either overheard or he said she maybe did. No, I think I overheard somebody else saying somebody else, actually. This particular friend, and I'm not saying who, and I never say full name. And yeah, I sometimes say specific details, but it's a big role. Anywho, um, may have missed her meds or didn't get her meds or something like that. I don't even know if I knew that it was something you could get medicated for. Sugar pills, I guess, but I don't know. Anyway, basically, from the first day of diagnosis, most people apparently require medication to keep diabetes in check and maintain good health. Many people worry that taking medications might be bad for their health as well as too costly. You should discuss the risks and benefits of treatments with your doctor. Remember to stay healthy. Your goal shouldn't be to take fewer medications, shouldn't it be? I mean, I'm a very not telling you to go off your meds, but I'm also a very holistic person and know that there's lots of other good things that can sometimes work with or instead of. But as I mean, I'm not the only one that thinks this. I know that. But on this channel recently, there was an interview with Michelle, and she reminded me of the phrase, "Some people are on a cocktail or a handful of medications." Actually, I have an interesting story about that. I was in a group once with a guy in Canada, and his wife was a celebrity nurse, and I think he lived in the States. He said that he sat at a bar with Steven Tyler once, and he saw Ozzy Osbourne, I think, in a airport, and he pulled out a bunch of his hands out of his pocket and said, "I'm on all of these," or something like that. You know, and I don't think that that's good for the system, and risky. Whew. So again, I forgot I wasn't reading this particular resource. Good boy, Sonny. Protect your heart should be your first concern. hmm It's a cool little book, though. It's like front and back. There's some nice pictures. I might just take the pictures. I could put this back where I got it if I keep it in good condition, but it's tiny, and I don't know. I mean, I would hope that most people are smart enough to notice where things might be a little bit oddly worded or not well typed up or whatever. I mean, not that I'm nitpicker. Don't be fearful to put comments on me saying this right in, but yeah, it's yeah. However, I don't. I'm curious what this one would say, and I don't know what I'd say otherwise. Uh, yes, I don't think everybody else needs it. It can be recycled. Um, Basically, it says don't do diabetes or any health condition alone. Good diabetes takes care and attention, effort, and you may at times feel overwhelmed, discouraged, isolated, and even burned out. Your motivation can be sapped by the stresses of daily life and even problems with depression, which are common in people with diabetes, but not only, of course. I mean, it's against. I mean, that one I almost don't want to nitpick, but it sounds like it's. I guess I just feel like it's kind of ignoring the fact that depression is popular anyway, or not popular but common. But yeah, I have to think how do I want people to contact me. I guess on my channel initially, and then if they have a unique enough name, I can look them up. So it's like anybody that sees this and wants to look me up, change your YouTube name to something that can be findable on another platform or something. Anyway, um, and say where you're from. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out something for Sunday's podcast, but then also, um, yeah. I'll look at something for a moment here. Nobody's watching, but And I'm just seeing something that sparked the first one I did today. Been a kind of active podcast day, but I mean, I knew I wouldn't have been long at my one plan anyway. And then the other one, I mean, I sat inside for a little bit, but it otherwise was not very long either because it was kind of canceled for today, and I didn't know till I got there. Yeah, that's as far as it shows, which is not accurate, but it's working now anyway. Um, to protect yourself, make sure you identify at least one person in your life who will support you in your efforts to manage diabetes, etc. I'm adding. I know this is about diabetes, but still, as I mess my hair up, look crazy. Um, but it could be anyone: a family member, good friend, trusted healthcare provider, or a support group. Also, find a doctor who you really trust, can be honest with, and feel is on your side. Living with diabetes is always easier when someone you like and respect is cheering for you. Again, not just diabetes, obviously. And I read that, so, and I don't think, although again, he looks like Ian too. It's probably the same guy. Um, and this is maybe what the other thing meant by saying, used in promotional materials. So maybe I'm okay with it. I don't know. Uh, Something about this picture. She just looks really like a nice person. So I'm keeping her. Just kidding. And him, I'm keeping this just because it reminds me a little bit of that Ian Guy channel the other day, and I think that's nice. I think that's special. So I have an hour and a half before I'm busy, and I want to have at least 30 or 40 minutes to myself. So I don't know what else I want to do. I want to see if I can make sense of that writing there. I don't know. No, unless I was watching a video and then I got sidetracked, and then I was also working on closing and moving with some tabs, and then I'm also looking at other stuff on my phone. So again, well, I already said it. I said it at the end of the previous video to this. I'm pretty sure. As far as my thoughts about long videos, and I'm curious what you think about my thoughts about it. About my thoughts, not about the long video necessarily, but both. Chapstick. But as far as oh, it's this one now. I was sure that I still had. I think I'm feeling one there, but I did lose one out today. Anyway, but that those thoughts that I don't feel like repeating now, though I could have with all those words, um, um, are still felt, even though I'm saying, yeah, there's nothing that bad about having shorter videos too. So, yeah, here it is. Taking it out of the oven and putting it in front of you on the counter to to enjoy and talk about here um, in the safe party space.